Hi, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about some heated gear that I bought and just tried on a 3,000 mile trip to Florida and back. So if that interests you, stick around.
Dang, this looks like a cliff. I mean, this is a cliff. All right, I can do it. Hang on, let me figure out which way we go. I think we stay, I don't know. Yeah, no big deal.
Okay, a couple months ago I was going to go for a day ride. It was all planned out. It was a little bit chilly. I've got some nice mid-layer stuff, but I've never had heated gear. I did a little searching and digging, and I found an adapter plug that worked. And I had this vest. Man, I've had this for years, and it seemed very simple. It's got one little plug in, but I've never had anything to plug it in, never had a thermostat, never had anything. So it's just hung in the closet for years. So a quick trip to Cycle Gear, and I found an adapter plug that allowed me to plug it in, I think it's called SAE plug in where my battery tender goes, and I could plug this vest in. So no thermostats, no way to change the temperature. It was just on or off. So I thought, man, I'm into this for 10 bucks. This thing's hung in my closet for years. We'll give it a shot. So this clearly is just a vest, but some of the extreme survivalists will tell you that if you keep your core warm, your extremities will take care of themselves. Okay, I agree with that. So I put this on, I plugged it in, you could immediately feel the heat. But when I took off, and I can't remember the temperature, this is a while back, my arms were still cold, my hands were still cold. So this didn't do much for me. Now, the way this one's set up, this plugs into the bike, it has another plug here, so I could plug another garment in, maybe gloves, right? So I did try to buy liners. I have some BMW winter gloves, so I thought if I just got the heated liners, I could put those in there, and that would be fine. The liners didn't work. The gloves and stuff at that point were so thick, I couldn't touch anything, couldn't feel anything. It just didn't work. So I took them back, and I bought full-on gloves. But the vest, even though it has this plug, I couldn't imagine plugging into this and then running a line just down the jacket of my sleeve of my air stitch suit. So one down here to plug into the glove. I didn't think that was going to be comfort, and that's what we're talking about, is comfort, right? So even though this kept my core warm, it didn't do anything for my arms, didn't do anything for my hands. It has that ability, but I didn't think running a line down my arms was going to work. So I called this a fail. So on to the next piece. So I went to Cycle Gear, and this is their hot wired line of clothing. This is the newest version. It's actually Bluetooth, which I thought was cool, but wasn't really sure what it was going to do for me. So they had a garment in my size, relatively inexpensive comparative to everything else. This was just over 200, and I think the gloves were just under 200. So I picked this up. Now this is pretty simple. It's got a little pouch for the cord, so you could store it up, zip it in there, and you could wear it just as a base layer or mid-layer garment without plugging it in. Once you plug it in, it has a switch right here. Let me see if I can show you that. Gotta be a little tricky, but we're gonna use my motorcycle. So once it's plugged in, push and hold, turns red. It has 3 settings. Red's the hottest. Push it again, you get yellow, that's medium. Green is the lowest, right? So push it again, back to red. Hold for 5 and shut off. So that was pretty simple. And I already had a plug, so I didn't need to wire anything in. I had the plug, it worked well. 3 temperature settings, so that was okay. But remember I said it's Bluetooth, so I downloaded the app, and I downloaded it both on my phone and my iPad, because I use the iPad on the motorcycle. And let me show you the option that this thing gives you. Okay, so now it's paired up. You do have to power it on first. Now keep that in mind. I wear a 1-piece arrow stitch. Once I'm all zipped up, I don't have access to this button. So when I plug in, I get on the bike, I plug it in, I turn it on, then I zip my arrow stitch up, and then I can go to the app. Now with the app, now I've got a 10 selector. So I can go from all the way down to 0 or 1, all the way up to 10. You cannot turn it on and off with the app, but it gives you a lot more adjustability with the app. So this was pretty handy. I felt this was easy enough. Even if I had to pull a glove off, I could dial it down. So using this app, it gives it a lot more tunability to your comfort level. On the switch down here, you only get 3 options, high, medium, and low. Here, we got 10. So the Bluetooth was really cool. Now, the gloves, they're not Bluetooth, but I'll show you how those work. At the end of each sleeve, you've got another pouch zipped up and a cord. Plug it in, and then each glove, because they're individual, each glove has a little button. Push and hold. Red, yellow, green. Once I was riding, even in the dark, I was able to find the switch without any issue. So I could play with them, change them. The little glow, also, you can see your hands with the glow, so I thought this worked well. And it's long enough cord that you can put your hand in. I didn't have any issues with this not being long enough or being too long. This seemed to work. Again, doesn't do anything on Bluetooth wise, but 3 different settings. And they're individual, so you can have one on hot, one on medium, or whatever the case may be. You just push and hold, shut it off. Really simple. I liked the fact that they were so simple, mainly because I just didn't want to have a whole bunch of more gadgets on there. I don't want to buy a controller. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I already run what I think is a lot of stuff, whether needed or not, but I run a lot of stuff. The iPad is already mounted on my tank, so it's easy for me just to go to that app, dial it down. Because I've never used heated gear before, I didn't know what to expect. It did a really good job of keeping my core warm, and I could feel it in my arms in different spots. And I found that if I moved my arm a certain way, the heating elements would touch a different spot. So I think it did a good job at keeping me warm. Again, we're not talking about the survivalist where I'm trying to survive a freezing night. I'm trying to get a little more comfort, a little more warmth. So I think it worked well. I didn't have to add a bunch of stuff to the bike to make it work. You could simply run one more lead to your battery and leave this there. It's small enough, tucks in well enough. It just worked well. Very simple, very easy to work with. Thought it worked well right through. All right, quick and brief, but that was a good rundown on this gear. I think for the money and for a guy that doesn't live in the extreme cold, I think it's going to work fine for me. I hope I get long-term use out of it. Whether or not I put its own dedicated line, I don't know, we'll see. I am going to do some wiring on the bike, so who knows, maybe I do. All right, hope you got something out of the video. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to my channel. All right, thanks, have a great day, be safe.